Hi guys, today is the 24th of February 2020 and it's 31 minutes past 5 in the evening over here in the UK. Today's thought started with the stock market. I was watching the news and I could see in the corner that the stock market was basically plunging. Looking at the news, Wall Street plummets as coronavirus fears spread in Europe. $1 trillion wiped off the global stock market. The Dow plunges over 1,000 points. So it's in this plunge territory, and we know from the iPad Go 2 video to expect a market plunge. Is this the one? I'm not sure. We've seen plunges before. 1,000 points and more is pretty significant. Although the market has risen to record levels in this year, or towards the end of last year, so the difference in terms of what they're losing is negligible compared to other years. You're still in a very good position even after losing 1,000 points. But I feel it may be significant for something else that may be coming later, and that is connected to the launch of Apple's new iPhone, or maybe some new products. They might be launching an iPhone, some headphones, a watch, maybe an iPad as well. So looking out for this Apple launch, which is on track to launch next month. Now, as most of you will know, Apple manufactures most of their products in China. China, where the COVID-19 virus, the coronavirus, is raging. They basically got mainland China on lockdown. Now, most companies have decided to delay the manufacturing of various goods in China, including the Nintendo Switch. The Mobile World Conference was cancelled, but Apple reportedly plans to introduce next month its iPhone and its Apple products, saying that their production of these items won't be affected. Now, I want to put out a cautionary warning for anyone who uses Apple and intends to buy a new Apple device in the next month or in the next couple of months. They haven't confirmed to us how this virus spreads. They're telling us things like, wash your hands. Potentially virus could spread through your eyes. I've heard that rumor as well. But the wash your hands part is key for me, because that would indicate that the virus can live on surfaces. It's not a virus that dies when it's not in contact with some sort of living organism. It can live on surfaces for who knows how long. They've got an incubation period of 8 to 10 days. They extended that to 2 weeks, and still some experts are saying that that's not enough as well. So it could be possible that this virus could live for long enough to survive during manufacturing and transportation of the Apple devices. Obviously, it's in mainland China, the place where there's the most cases of this virus, and we can't be sure that we've got accurate reporting. It's probably underreported, as most things are when it comes to these contagions, pathogens, viruses, pandemics, epidemics, whatever. So we have to be really cautious. And another reason why I'm thinking Apple, the coronavirus, the potential for that virus being spread on their devices, and obviously millions of people picking up that device and a couple of weeks later, a couple of days later, suddenly realizing they've got this virus. And obviously at that point it becomes a situation where the governments around the world will institute lockdowns, quarantines, forced quarantines. So in the video I posted, I think maybe the last video or the video before that, I was talking about the Walmarts that have closed, the Sam's stores that have closed, the military locations that are popping up all over the United States, ready to house these, people contaminated or, even suspected of being contaminated with the virus. In this scene, I may have just, dropped my thought there, but forget that. In this scene, with the children in the background, they're blue. We've indicated before in previous interpretations that the blueness of the children here indicates some sort of lack of oxygen deprivation, something like that. We had that connection when we was talking about the children that were stuck in the cave. Was it in Thailand? I believe it was. And the numbers were very convincing in terms of how many were stuck, how many got released, and but that's in the past now, and we're looking at this blue situation in the same way, oxygen deprivation, but I'm thinking now in connection with the coronavirus, the COVID-19. It's a respiratory virus like SARS, so obviously that would relate to difficulty breathing, chest infections, that kind of stuff. which obviously, if we have difficulty breathing, then we've got a lack of oxygen, which can turn people blue, blue in the face, blue in tone of their skin color. Now the girl in the picture is holding the apple. Now the apple symbolizes many different things, but if we think of it as symbolizing Apple the company, potentially the layer of interpretation here is that the girl is holding an Apple device depicted as an actual apple, but then she drops that device and it rolls across and the apple splits in half and the lotus flower blooms out of it. So I'll just skip that forward a little bit, let that play. Obviously we then have all the emergency lights and everything going at the same time, but at this point, when the apple splits in half, we've got the interpretation for the volcanic eruption, the splitting of Israel, or the two-state agreement that Donald Trump and Jared Kushner and everyone else is working on. But there's also the potential interpretation in association with Apple the company for it losing half its value, or being split in half in that sense. Now obviously if the interpretation pans out to be even close to true, and the virus can be spread on devices such as Apple devices, and they intend to continue with their launch of the product next month, if that information is then found out and it's found to be true, that would definitely cause Apple to lose half of its stock. Accompanied with the Weinstein conviction today, the coronavirus in China, and basically all around the world, Brexit, that is a lot for the stock market to hold up and to withstand. So I think then that all connects to what's happening later on in the video with this child here. Now recently in the news, it's been talking about cases of the coronavirus exploding in Italy. Now obviously we've connected this kid to Italy because of the garments that he's wearing. Very Pope, Vatican, Catholic type dress. And then next to him we can see that there's the medication. And then we get the close-up of the eyes, which again, the rumor of the coronavirus being spread through the eyes is there. So maybe it's all connected. When we go into his eyes, we also see the stock market plunging. So my layer of interpretation, to try and simplify it, is Apple plan to release their products next month despite the coronavirus. It could potentially survive on surfaces such as phones and tablets and stuff like that. If millions of people go and buy the product, as I expect they will, there's the potential for that virus being on their hands, coming into contact with their hands. And obviously throughout the day we touch our faces an untold amount of times, rub our eyes, touch our noses, wipe our mouths. So there is the potential for a mass spread or contamination of this virus through that particular product. Now obviously this is just an interpretation, it's a warning. I don't use Apple products, so I may be biased in that sense, but at the same time, this is just something that has come to me, and I'm just laying out the interpretation for you guys. As I said, there's a lot of connections that appear to be happening all at the same time right now, especially around this coronavirus and everything else. There's a lot more to watch out for, so we're not going to drop our vigilance, but this is a warning. Don't buy the Apple devices when they launch next month. If anything, wait for, I don't know, another month before you go ahead and buy it, just to be sure. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.